Back Warriors, it's me, Linda B. Thank you guys so much for joining me. All right, we got live news, breaking news. We got updates on what's happening with Luigi Mangione, and Fani Willis got kicked to the curb. Fani Willis, girl, you have been kicked to the curb. Don't forget to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the all notifications, guys. Remember that I'm also here on YouTube with the new show, The Linda B Show, and it has shows on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, but you can watch the videos at any time. You don't just have to go there at, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. But in any event, we got breaking news from Fox on Luigi Mangione. Take a watch.
Luigi Mangione, the man charged with murdering United Health CEO, Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, Mangione is just arriving back to New York to face murder charges. He was extradited from Pennsylvania just this morning, so he had planned to fight it first and then waived extradition. This is expected to head to Manhattan Criminal Court moments from now, and the Associated Press is reporting that Luigi Mangione is now going to face federal charges in New York. And you see, this is Long Island MacArthur Airport in Islip. They chose not to do the 5+ hour drive from Pennsylvania because of the, just all the intense media coverage and what that route would look like through a couple of different states. I would imagine you'd have to go through Jersey to get there, at least in some part. So they took him by air, and there he is. He boards a helicopter now. He heads to Manhattan. And he was already facing charges, different lesser charges in the state of Pennsylvania where he was found at a McDonald's. But now as he comes back, some of the questions will be, was it terrorism that he committed in the city of New York when he shot that CEO of United Healthcare as he was walking in daylight on a morning to an investors meeting for United Healthcare? Was that terrorism? Was it an assassination? In parts of this country, Brian Thompson is known, for instance, in his home state of Minnesota. United Healthcare and others are very large employers in that state. So there are a lot of questions about what this could rise to. Could the feds possibly push for the death penalty with him? We'll keep our eyes on this. We'll report the news as it happens.
You guys, this is big. And also, I wanted to just re-show you some of the stuff that I've shown you before concerning that, Luigi Mangione, and I'm going to say allegedly, has some kind of connection to the Pelosi family. Nancy and Paul Pelosi. I'm saying allegedly. I'm not saying it's absolutely true, but this is absolutely what is out there. So I'm going to share this with you right now so you can take a look here. Let's see what we got. We've got, let's see. It says some people think Mangione is a paid gun, and with the insider training with Pelosi that they bumped the CEO off. Not only is his cousin a Maryland state delegate, Luigi's parents own a country club Pelosi belongs to, and Tim Walz was buddies with the CEO. Okay, this is Luigi's cousin, Antonino Mangione, who serves as a Maryland state delegate. It has this all over the internet. Nancy Pelosi's uncle married the godfather of Luigi Mangione, Nick Mangione, allegedly. And also some other news. It says Pelosi and Mangione connect. Nancy Pelosi's family and Luigi Mangione's family in Baltimore. They ran an organized crime ring and controlled the port of Baltimore. Okay, this is allegedly, guys. I don't want to get in trouble. This is just what is out there, but I'm going to show you this walk that he took right here. So he's taking a walk right there, looking like, some people were complaining that they made him look like a martyr instead of the alleged criminal, the suspect in the actual shooting of UHC executive Brian Thompson. And this was said to have been happening like in the broad daylight, like I guess the early morning hours. But that's what we have on that. I'll have more information as soon as it comes out, but I wanted to also share with you all those alleged connections to the Pelosi family. Again, not saying it's absolutely true. Now, in other news, we got a famous DA by the name of Fani Willis, who, oh my goodness, she got kicked out. She got kicked to the curb. That's what happened with her. And that is what we are going to share right now. DA Fani Willis disqualified from the Trump case. Finally.
A Georgia Court of Appeals has disqualified the Fulton County DA Fani Willis from that election interference case. It's coming down right now. The case against Trump and more than a dozen others already largely stalled, as you know. The new ruling means that it will be up to the prosecuting attorney's council in the state of Georgia to find another prosecutor to decide on the case, to take it over and make a decision as to whether or not they continue with a prosecution of the incoming president.
And former Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo is here. John, does this mean that this is yet another one of the cases against Trump that could go away before he's president?
It's another example, Dana, of this lawfare campaign that was waged by Democrats, boomeranging back on them and falling all around their ears. Anyone who watched this trial, remember, this is the DA who claimed that the entire Trump reelection campaign was something like an organized crime racket that was intending to deprive everyone of our civil rights to vote. But remember, we saw the dramatic testimony over the summer of how DA Fani Willis had hired her boyfriend, essentially, to be the special counsel, overpaid him, and then had him investigate and bring charges against Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you guys have heard me report on this numerous times. I've been reporting on this since February. Okay, this woman hired her boyfriend, Nathan Wade, as special prosecutor. She paid him in excess of $650,000 annually and received kickbacks because he used part of that money to take her on these lavish trips. And she was trying to make it seem like there was no tracking of the money. She said she did everything in cash. Remember, during that disqualification hearing back in March? It's a hot mess. And to think that the judge was so soft on this, Judge Scott McAfee, he split the baby down the middle, as they say. He said, both of you can't not be on the case. And of course, she chose for Nathan Wade to be gone and for her to stay on the case because it's all about her career and making a name for herself. But I showed you video way after the fact where she had admitted that their relationship was over, but it wasn't over. Because remember that video where I showed you where Fani Willis's pregnant daughter, she may have had the baby by now, was pulled over by police for driving on a suspended license. And on the police body cam, it showed Fani Willis coming to the aid of her daughter with Nathan Wade. And the man was like, so are these the parents? And I'm just like, wow, she just totally lied. Democrats do whatever the heck they want to do because they know that they can get away with it, so to speak. But that well is about to dry up. That well is about to dry up. You can't just do whatever you want to do and get away with it. And now she finally is off the case. Finally. I was like, this took forever. And I want to say too, Judge McAfee did that because he was up for re-election. He wanted to get his position back. That's why the judge was so soft on her, because he knew that a lot of the Black population was going to be in support of her because a lot of Black folks got TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. I was one of them. And he did what he had to do to get reelected. So now that he's back in the seat, now he's acting a little tougher, so to speak. So that's what's going on with that. You guys, the mess, the webs we weave.
It's a complete conflict of interest. And if you take a quick look at the Georgia Appeals Court decision here, that's what it says. There's such an appearance of impropriety, an appearance of a conflict of interest that Fani Willis should not be the prosecutor. I think this spells yet another case that's going to have to either be suspended or more likely just ended and tossed out. It's hard for me to see another Georgia district attorney wanting to take up this flawed case and try to prosecute Trump on these theories that his reelection campaign was some kind of criminal organized crime enterprise.
John, a couple of things here. There are 14 others that face charges. I don't know what happens to them, but she can appeal to the state Supreme Court in Georgia. But given what the Supreme Court said in Washington about immunity, I mean, does the state Supreme Court even take her case in Georgia?
It's a good question, Bill. I think what's going to happen here, along the lines of possible appeals and so on, is it looks likely because of that presidential immunity decision by the Supreme Court that any kind of state prosecution of President Trump would have to be at least suspended, if not dropped. You're seeing that going on, those arguments going on right now up in New York City with the case being heard by Judge Merchan. So even if they could get past immunity, they'd still have to suspend it while President Trump was in office. But furthermore, you'd have to go back and then scrub the whole indictment, scrub everything the grand jury did, and say you've got to eliminate anything that used official actions by President Trump, any evidence that came in from White House officials, from anything the president was doing in the Oval Office. They might actually fatally handicap this prosecution and require the whole thing to be dismissed.
It's interesting, too, because she had this novel way of trying to get at him through RICO. Was that a mistake as well? In addition to her personal behavior, obviously, is what they're saying here. But in a way, it was this like novel idea, like, how can I be the one to take Trump down? That's for, like, politically, she wanted that reputation.
Yeah. Dana, you and I remember we're Justice Department alums. Yeah, I remember you when you were there and I was there and we were, there after the days of 9/11. And you can use this kind of statute, RICO, to try to go after real organized crime, drug cartels, mafia organizations. DA Fani Willis introduced, I think, a really dangerous theory was that we could use these powerful tools that are used for terrorists and drug cartels and apply them to political campaigns, and not just any political campaign, but the campaign by the leading opposition candidate at that time, Donald Trump, the head of one of the two major parties in the country. I think ultimately the whole thing would have been tossed out because it violated the free speech rights of Donald Trump, the free speech rights of the Republican Party, and actually a lot of Americans who supported him. So I think in the end, this whole thing was going to come crashing down around Fani Willis's and the Democratic Party's ears. Anyway.
Well, it seemed complicated from the beginning. There is that case here in New York that's still out there, the 34 counts in Judge Merchan's courtroom. He made a ruling about a week ago that the conviction still stands, but the penalty will be judged at a later date. John, do you think that later date ever happens now?
I think this is Judge Merchan really still trying to go after Donald Trump. If you think about it, if you look, Bill, you mentioned the presidential immunity case. There's a footnote, a really important footnote in that opinion that says states, even if they're prosecuting a president for private acts, can't use evidence from the presidency. They can't use what Donald Trump said in the Oval Office. They can't use what White House officials said. Nevertheless, Judge Merchan went ahead and held a trial and introduced that kind of evidence. He should, at the very least, order a new trial, if not force the DA to go back to it. But what Merchan is doing, which I think is still dangerous, is he's dangling these charges still, the sentencing, over the head of Donald Trump and saying, well, I can't sentence you now. Maybe I won't. He still probably, he could try to get in before the inauguration, but he shouldn't. But he's going to say, I'm going to dangle that over your head for the next 4 years, and I'm going to be waiting for you when your presidency is over. Well,
you have to think he's doing the work of Alvin Bragg, right, Dana? At the moment. I mean, he works for the DA, right, John?
I don't know.
Let's see what else he has to say. One little bit.
I wouldn't say he's doing. I'm sure Bragg loves this idea because Bragg is trying to make his career out of harassing President Trump. And this is a terrible thing for not just Donald Trump, for all Americans because of the presidency. You don't want presidents to have to try to make the toughest decisions on behalf of the country and have to worry what's going to happen to me when I come out of office. Is this, two-bit judge and this DA going to be able to have clear
decision making? Indeed, John, you stick around for.
Okay, so yeah, this, Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, all these people, Letitia James, they're just trying to make a name for themselves. They want this notoriety. They want to bump up their career for having gotten the man. They're just out to get the man. They're not getting Donald Trump. Those of us who see clearly, by the grace of God, who have our eyes open. And I told you guys, when I was praying about this thing and I was reading my Bible, God clearly showed me that all the cases against Donald Trump are complete and utter hoaxes, that Donald Trump is innocent of every single one of them, not just innocent of some of them, but innocent of all of them. And only time could tell if I, heard correctly or not. But I believe that God showed me that. And I was a person with TDS. I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 16 or 20. I did not. I did this last time. I did, honey. I stayed up late watching to see if he was going to win the election. I prayed for him too, and all the things. Okay, but they're just trying to get him, and they don't realize. And see, this is why I say that the Democrats, the Democrats, the Diddy-crats, the demon rats, whatever name I feel like calling them. I think I like Diddy-crats, but in any event, they're not going to learn their lesson. All they know to do is to do evil. They don't know how to learn from their mistakes and say, well, you know what, let's just do better. I don't think it's in them. I think once Satan has gotten his tentacles down, deep down in them, they're just going to run evil with the evil show. Now, God can save anybody now. Don't get me wrong. But these people, I don't think they're going to learn from. I just don't think they will. If they do, they just got saved by Jesus. And then they're probably going to be too scared to tell the truth because they know how evil this thing is because they used to be a part of it. That's if they ever sincerely repent and give their lives to the Lord. Hopefully you guys have. But I'm just saying, they are so determined to get him that they were sloppy in the process. DA Fani Willis is not even a federal prosecutor. She's not a federal DA. She's not federal. She's like Fulton County. So there you have that. And then you have all the conflicts of interest. You have that. And then she spoke in a church. Remember that time she spoke in a church? She wasn't supposed to do that. Tainting the potential jury pool. She wasn't supposed to do that. The woman is corrupt. So is Letitia James, Alvin Bragg. You see Jack Smith, all his stuff is gone. But they're still trying to hang on to it. And they're not saying that they're going to throw the conviction out because Fani Willis has been disqualified. That is not what they're saying. They're looking at getting another prosecutor to handle it. And I'm thinking this prosecutor probably won't want to deal with it because think about it. Donald Trump is headed back to the White House in about exactly a month. January 20th, he'll be back in the White House. So why would anybody in their right mind go after somebody who's going to have all the power in the world to go after you? It doesn't make any sense to me. And then they're saying they might just, dangle it over his head and go after him when he's finished with his term. He could end all of that. Donald Trump could end all of that, but I know he's not the kind to pardon himself just because that's like you're admitting guilt. He's not that way. But if he did, then it will be over. You know what I'm saying? It would be over. It would be done, kaput. Thank you so much. It's not your fault. Oh, thank you so much, God. Blessings to you, Jeff Sorrenta. You guys, you need to check out Jeff Sorrenta's YouTube channel. It's called It's Not Your Fault. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jeff. And so Bragg, let's see what some of your comments are. It says Bragg needs to be disbarred and charged for false charges. Absolutely. Joe McMurray, she should be disbarred because she did spill this for political gain. Yeah, she did do it for political gain. She needs to be in prison. Mershon should be imprisoned also. Both of them used charges that was after the expiration of time. Yes, past the statute of limitations. Yes, that's correct. And remember all the things that Judge Mershon did, when the jury was deliberating. He told them at the last minute now, in the 11th hour, that you don't all have to agree on all the charges. He literally said that. And literally the 34 counts is for how the bookkeeping was. I can't believe these people. Thank you so much for the super chat, Hound Lover. God bless you. Howard University is starting to look like an organized crime syndicate, allegedly. I know, right? Allegedly. Thank you guys so much. And so I'm just looking at these people like, y'all are fools. Y'all are fools. You don't know what Donald Trump is going to do, if he's going to pardon himself, but he's not, his mindset is not to do that because he doesn't want to make it seem you only pardon if you actually did something. He didn't do anything. And that's the thing. Like, I know I'm innocent, but if I pardon myself, allegedly I'm admitting guilt, but at least it'll be gone away. So it's kind of like, what do you do, right? What do you guys think you should do? I don't know. We got to pray for the right thing to happen. These people, everything was like really orchestrated to get Donald Trump because he's after the deep state. And we guys, I can't wait till January 20th gets here. I am so super excited. I mean, I really am. I want these people to go away and leave this man alone because he didn't do anything. And the whole thing with J6, remember that? The informants, did you guys know about that? I don't know if you saw my videos yet, but there was a report by the FBI or DOJ, one of them, that said that there were, I think it was the FBI, who said that there were no FBI agents in the crowd on J6, but rather they were informants. informants. And I'm like, so, I mean, the fact that they had to bring out a letter on official letterhead and an official statement actually having to say this, actually having to say, oh, but they weren't really agents. They were informants. Yeah, informants that did your bidding. Informants that were there because of you. Why were they there in the first place? Why were they there? Answer me that. And see, the Democrats keep doing this mess and keep pulling this mess. It's going to make them lose even more voters. They're going to lose. I'm telling you, they're not going to learn from their mistakes. They're not going to learn because they don't know how. They've been taken over by Satan. I'm telling you. Yes, the U.S. Supreme Court can resolve our charges. They need to. Oh, thank you so much, Hound Lover. God bless you. Hey, Iron Ear. You heard that there were around 200 in the crowd. And see, they were saying, Iron Ear, they were saying in their report that there were like 26, but 3 were there on some kind of official business and were authorized to be there. And then they said, if I got this correct, 23 were there unauthorized, but they were still FBI informants. But they keep saying, but they're not agents. See my video with Stephen A. Smith and Roland Martin on the thumbnail. You guys need to check that out. I'm giving Roland Martin a fit. I call him Uncle Roro. Uncle Roro need to go because I don't like all that mess. Giving Stephen A. hard time. Stephen A. don't know what side of the fence he wants to be on. That's what I call sometimes people who just ride the fence, say independent. Pick a side. Just pick a side. Pick a side, Stephen A. You got to have a backbone. You got to be strong in the fight. Don't tell me I'm stronger than you, is stronger willed than you, Stephen A. But I guess I don't make over $1 million a month and I don't want to see that gravy train. I guess I have a hard time too, just being honest. But I just wanted to get this information out to you guys. I thank you so much for supporting my channel. I do have another channel. It is called The Linda B Show. I premiere a new show Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube. However, you can watch the videos at any time that you want to. The Linda B Show. Share my videos, comment, share, subscribe, notification bell. This is not a political channel. The Linda B Show is not political. It's more cultural, dealing with the things that are going on, religious, cultural, music-wise, Hollywood, everything. What's the latest buzz? And me and a panel of people, not just myself, will be discussing these things. But I thank you guys so much for supporting my channel. And you're saying, Ginger, you think it's very unfair for Texas to have to foot the bill for the whole nation. I know, just saying, I know. I agree. Thank you guys so much. You guys have been such a blessing, a total blessing to me. Thank you so much, Jeff Sorrenta of It's Not Your Fault. Again, check out Jeff Sorrenta of It's Not Your Fault. His channel is It's Not Your Fault. It's great, good information there. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this live. Be blessed. Love God, your families, the United States of America, and march on, warriors.